Hi everyone. In this video, I'll be talking to Mike Lindsay. Mike currently works as a professional services engineer at GitLab. Hi, Mike. Could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been working in the industry for a long time, 20 years doing various IT things. Last 10 years, I've been doing DevOps stuff. Last 5 years, professional services. So I've worked in private industry, public sector, enterprise to SMB. So you name it, I probably had some hand in it somewhere. So.
Awesome. And so tell me a bit about your experience with neurodiversity and how that came about in terms of diagnosis and the like. And were there any situations from your past where it all kind of made sense after your diagnosis?
Sure. That's a really big open-ended question. So actually, I was diagnosed with ADHD pretty late. I didn't actually get diagnosed until COVID. So typically, most of my jobs have involved me going somewhere, being this, the hero, saving the day kind of thing, and then going home, which just fits naturally, with ADHD tendencies and everything, and goes right into it. So I never thought anything about it. I was just good at what I did and ran with that. And then with COVID, I wasn't going anywhere, and I was getting stuck in ruts, being in the same place. And so, anyways, I started asking questions of my doctor and things like that, because I noticed I was starting to stress out a lot more. I was starting to, well, how's my performance really? I'm no longer a hero. What does this look like? And talking to my managers and things like that. And anyways, I talked to my doctor. It led to a diagnosis after I talked to a few specialists and things like that. So, and they diagnosed me, I think, a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was, I don't know, it was a pretty big deal because it was, I'm a lot older, I'm gone my whole life without noticing this and ever having worried about it. But now that I got diagnosed with it, it definitely explains. It adds a lot more flavor to my past history, like maybe things where I was obsessive compulsive or not focusing on things I should be when I should have been, stuff like that. It definitely added a lot of flavor to those experiences, so I could more easily see what I was doing.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
and my effects on it.
And has it changed how you work day to day now, or is things still the same? It's just that you have a new appreciation of how you work.
Well, at least combined with COVID, it has changed how I work day to day. So to make sure I don't get stuck in those ruts, I'm constantly like trying to change my work environment, things like that, so I'm not just in the same spot. That's affecting everybody, but it highlights more with people who might be neurodiverse, and they tend to get stuck in those ruts more and be affected by it more too. So whereas a normal person might just yeah, it's a rut, sucks, but whatever, it is what it is. The neurodiverse person might start going off a deep end and might move into dangerous territory, getting a lot of depression or things like that. So I try to adjust my environment as much as possible. I started using a lot more tools to help keep myself on task and trying to budget my time better. So there's been a lot of changes for me, at least.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you were diagnosed fairly recently. Was this something that you initially disclosed to your manager? How did you approach that conversation? Were there some things that work did well, and what were some of the things that GitLab did to help support?
Sure. I didn't initially disclose the diagnosis to my management. I don't think I ever actually did, but I did disclose to my management that, hey, I'm having a problem and this is abnormal for me, and I assume it's because of the COVID. I'm dealing with it. I'm trying to be better. So, and it took, I would say all told, it took about 6 months from when I originally had a major problem and started getting treatment for that problem and moving beyond it. And GitLab was really supportive in that time. I kept my manager informed of, hey, I'm going to go see the doctor. This is, what they're talking about. This is what I'm doing, stuff like that. And they were very supportive. Always allowed me whatever time I needed. They, if I was having, like, say, a technical problem and I was getting too bothered by it, I would get the support I needed. So that was that worked out really well, and I was very appreciative for the company allowing me to express myself in that way, and them supporting me. So
Awesome.
mm.
And so how could remote working improve some of these, the challenges that you potentially have as somebody with ADHD, or what new challenges could it present for somebody with ADHD that other team members should be aware of?
It's a double-edged sword. So at least in my case, it's great to have that time to mess around a little bit, and, like, I'm not locked into that 8-hour day at an office where I have to focus on, for that solid 8 hours. So maybe I get that hour to squirrel out on something else for a minute, let my mind distract itself a little bit. So, and then on the flip side of that is, yeah, there's no one sitting there telling me I need to work for 8 hours a day, so I have to control myself. So yeah, so double-edged sword. And there's definitely, I would say, for ADHD people to move into an all remote situation like that, there's probably some definite things they could do to help themselves. A lot of planning type thing, not planning, but like tools to help remind them of deadlines before their deadlines, right? You don't want to be, oh yeah, I put off this 40-hour job until the last day, and now I'm working 24 hours to try to get it done. So use tools to help you manage that, because the people aren't there to manage you. So you got to manage yourself a little bit and use tools, and that'll help a lot.
Yeah, so being a manager of one kind of takes a little bit of a new context for somebody with ADHD. You have to be really diligent about it, whereas somebody that maybe neurotypical can navigate that probably a little bit more easily. That makes total sense. And so in terms of, remote working can be that double-edged sword. What tips do you have for people that you have to collaborate with consistently? How could they ensure that they make your work experience better, if you have any?
In my case, I do a lot of, like, training and things like that. So I have a pretty good social aspect, but once in a while I don't, and so I try to communicate with my coworkers and everybody about my personal communication style. And sometimes I'll say stuff and I'll just be a bull in a china shop. I'm focusing out on this technical issue and I'm just saying this thing's wrong, whereas somebody else might be taking it as an attack on them, whereas I didn't mean it as an attack. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And so I try to make sure everybody is aware that, like, hey, if it comes across this way, I don't mean anything by that. Let me know if that's what you're perceiving so I can adjust. Communication is just really key. Get to know your coworkers, let them know you, work with them. So
Awesome stuff. Look, well, thank you so much for sharing, Mike. I really appreciate it. And participating is going to help lots of other team members learn about neurodiversity through your experiences, and hopefully through other team members' experiences as well. Is there any one piece of advice that you would like to give to a manager or a team member to work better with their colleagues, or to be a better ally for neurodiverse colleagues?
There's resources online. Probably the best one I've ever seen, especially for just getting high level basic understanding of it. There's a YouTuber, Jessica McCabe. So she is absolutely awesome. And while her experiences aren't exactly the same as everyone else's, she gets it and she can relay it to other people really well. So it's, if you're trying to understand what's going on, either with you or with a coworker, excellent resource.
Fantastic. Well, I'll make sure to put that into the resources part of this course. And yeah, hopefully everybody can get some really good valuable insights from her. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it. Speak soon.
Very welcome, Liam. Have a good day.